Hey, Ted here from Big Goofy Runner. Question for you. When you travel, how do you make sure your pictures are safe? Your pictures and videos for vacations or, say you're going to a Run Disney race. How do you make sure your stuff is safe while you're on the road? How do you back it up? It's one of my big fears. Back 2002, I went to Italy and my old film camera crapped out while I was there. I lost a bunch of pictures. Ever since then, I've been kind of obsessed about making sure I don't lose anything. So ever since I got my first digital camera, 2003 now, I have been kind of obsessed about saving the data and making sure even when I'm traveling that I am making backup copies of that data so I don't lose these pictures. Now, once upon a time, or ages back, I used to use this. It's a Creative Zen W. Think of it as being a big chunky iPod, no touch screen or anything like that, but old school chunky iPod with a 60 gig hard drive in it, massive battery life, outputs for going to a TV, headphones, you can watch shows on it, things like that, but it had a compact flash port. So my old point and shoot camera and my first digital SLR used compact flash cards. They were 1, 2, 4 gigs in size. You could get a lot of pictures on this 60 gigs. So this was fantastic. I could also preview the pictures on this thing. Just awesome. But times moves on. I get my first camera that's got an SD card. Well, I get an adapter for this guy. So I can put the SD data on here. Also still good because it's still mostly pictures. Come to now where I'm traveling with 1, 2 GoPros. Heck, maybe even 3. Just when I bring in the older ones. Those are all microSD. I could put adapter into here, but the thing is each of those cameras is already got 60 some gigs. They're all 64 gig card in them. I think one of them actually has 128 gig. So this 60 gig is just not enough to back up that data. And then I've also got my my newer DSLR, which is actually still pretty old compared to the newest stuff, but if I do any videos on it or whatever, it takes up a bunch of space too. So yeah, and when you shoot in 4K video on the GoPros, like they're big files. But how do you back that up? On my phone, I shoot some 4K video as well, and I take a whack of pictures, and so does my wife with hers. We make sure those back up anywhere where we got Wi-Fi, they back up to OneDrive. So we got that stuff backed up. Basically, as long as we got Wi-Fi, that stuff goes up to the cloud, we're good. But it doesn't really work for the GoPros because the files are massive. And, if you go out and you're in the water, taking videos for an hour, 2 hours, the amount of data you have to move is crazy. You're not going to get that up to the cloud. Basically, you'll start that in the middle of the night or, when you go to bed and it'll still be going in the morning. So that doesn't work. So I started thinking, what are the options? Well, once I outgrew this thing originally, I started using a laptop instead. Older style laptops with the mechanical hard drives in them had a lot of space, maybe a terabyte hard drive in it, lots of room. Or you could add an external hard drive because lots of USB ports. So you could do that. Well, the laptop I used for that kind of died. And since then, I upgraded to, as I've been doing more YouTube stuff, I got a laptop that I could do video editing on. But I got a chunky laptop. It's a gaming laptop that I can also video edit on. It's, I've used it for trips and things like that, and I'm a big guy. I don't mind carrying a bit of a load. But some trips I just don't want that kind of big load to carry around. And maybe, if you're going for a hike or something like that, that's just not good. So for the trip that I got coming up, I thought about then, okay, well, maybe I'll use a Surface 3, an old Windows tablet that I've got with USB port, and I could use a hub and just basically, take a microSD card reader, pull the data off the card, and put it onto an external hard drive. Because the Surface 3's got 64 gigs internal, so not much more than this guy. So I just use it as a pass-through, but I could still at least look at the files, things like that. So I went and looked at my Surface 3 the other day, and it's bowed on both the front and the back. Like, the glass on a tablet should not bend. but it's basically the lithium-ion battery inside of it is starting to swell, and that's not safe. That's now a safety hazard. That laptop, that tablet. So that's not going to work. I'm not going to buy a new portable laptop just to move stuff around, just because that's a waste of money. So I started looking, what are the options? What's out there? Because, I mean, this thing was fantastic. And I know when I looked at this, there were some similar devices that were dedicated for photographers, for professional photographers, for doing that kind of backup. And I'm like, in the time since I bought this, which is probably 12 years ago now, 10 or 12, there has been, massive improvements in memory technology and all that kind of stuff. So there must be a better device, but similar to this. Well, I really couldn't find anything, unfortunately. So the best thing I saw was a Western Digital hard drive that had some built-in smarts and a USB port, so you could basically, or it might have been an SD card slot, one of the two. So you could plug the stuff in, single button press, and it would pull the stuff off of the card, put it right in the hard drive. You couldn't see anything because it had no screens or nothing, but small price to pay. At least it would be super portable, very easy device to use. I think it had battery backup in it too, so you didn't have to plug it in to do that. So great for a hike, that kind of stuff. Now, the unfortunate thing about that is it was quite expensive. It was, when I looked at it, it was over $300, probably $350 Canadian. That means it's probably going to be in the high 200s American. It's not a cheap device. And at that point, I'm halfway to buying a cheap-ass, almost disposable laptop to use as a pass-through. So that doesn't make any sense. So what's another option? Well, what I found was this. It's RAVPower Filehub. It's a travel router, AC750, so you can plug in Ethernet and get basically your own Wi-Fi out of this box. If you're at a hotel where you've only got plug-in internet, you could get your own wireless out of there for some additional safety, that kind of thing. Put in the extra security. It's got a built-in battery bank into it, 6,700 milliamp hours. So most phones, that's going to be 1 to 2 chargers, 1 and 1.5 charges. So that's pretty solid. That's good to have. But it has an SD card slot and a USB slot and a button that lets you transfer from something plugged in the SD slot over to something plugged into the USB slot. So if I travel with this box and a small 1 terabyte hard drive that I have, that's a portable drive, I should be able to just take the cards out of my cameras and plug it into this guy and transfer it across. Easy peasy. On paper. So that's what we're going to test here. I'm going to open this guy up. We're going to look and see what's in the box, and then we're going to go and do some testing. So what I've got is I've filmed a 4K 60 frames per second video on my GoPro Hero 7 Black. I'm going to take that video. I think it's about 8 something minutes long. It's going to be near 4 gigs. I'll give some more information in a minute. But let me just check 1 second here if my mouse is working. It is a 3.9 gig file. So we'll see how fast it transfers, because what I got to do is take, the GoPros have microSDs. So I got to convert that microSD through it with an adapter into standard SD to use in this. So I'm going to see how fast that goes, move that single file. Then I'll take the same file and I'll put it on a standard SD card that I use for my digital SLR, and just see if that goes any quicker, any slower, see if there's any differences there. I suspect there won't be, but I just want to do that quick test. And then, I'm just interested to see too what that's going to look like when I go then plug that drive into a computer and look at the information later. But so let's go take a look. Let's open this guy. Hopefully the mic is working. I'm not using my external mic. I'm just using the phone mic to record this. 2 pieces of tape. Not that. Okay, support information. 18-month extended warranty. So what do we got here? RAVPower support information. QR code. And, well, it's a thick book, actually. Multiple languages, obviously. So different information on what to do with it. I'm fairly certain that there is a application. Yeah, I think that's one of the tricks with it, right? Is that, there's stuff you can do with your phone to the SD card. So lots of different things. But so it's a very multi-featured device, I'm going to focus, for this video at least, specifically on the SD card portion. Let's pop that out of there. Let's get, okay, there's a, oh, it's USB-C, so there's a USB-C cable with it. That's good. Box out of the way. Just in a little tiny bag. Slip that out. Nice feel to it, actually. I mean, it is plastic, not metal, but it does feel pretty good, so that's good. So what do we got here? Underneath, it's a switch to go between 2.4G and 5G. So I guess that's when you're doing your when you do have the Wi-Fi going. There's the SD card slot. So it's not microSD, it's just direct SD. So if you are going to do a GoPro or something like that, you do need the adapter, which come with vast majority of microSD cards anyway. And then the button to press and get the transfer to occur. We got, there's the power thing to say when it's powered. So then on this side, we got a little port here, a little rubbery thing that flips open. USB. It's not blue, so I'm wondering if it's USB 2.0. The transfer speeds, it lists between 12 and 18 megabytes per second. There's a USB-C port for charging, and also then the LAN. So I mean, you can hook your phone up to it through the internal Wi-Fi and the Wi-Fi in your phone into this guy, and then have the pictures automatically back up to the SD or say an external hard drive you have plugged into this guy. So that's pretty cool. Instead of going up to OneDrive like I do, and like if say you're in the middle of the forest and you want to back up your stuff from your phone, say you're camping or whatever, this will work for that. You can basically back it up to another device without having to wait to get to a good Wi-Fi location where you can get internet access to do the stuff for going to OneDrive or anything on one of the cloud drives. So looks pretty good. RAVPower. I don't know if it comes charged or not, but let's see. So this is the drive I'm going to use for the USB side. It is a Western Digital Passport. It's an old guy. I've had it for quite a while, but it should be good for my trip here. It is USB 3, so if this was USB 3, we'd be okay. So that's plugged in there into that port. Oh, I had a light flash. Okay. And then here is my microSD card. It is from Lexar 667X A2 little device, 128 gig. It's a fast guy. Like I said, it's just about a 4 gig file. So this is out of my GoPro Hero 7 Black, so it needs a fairly fast card to do the 4K 60 frames per second. So I'll put it in just a standard, it's a SanDisk adapter I've got here. Put that in, it's a clip in. So I'll kind of push it in so it clips. There we go, click, it's in. Okay, let's turn the power on. There we go, got almost full battery, that's nice. Okay, so let's hit, oh, and I got light come on the hard drive, so that's good. So now, let's just see if I can just figure this out. So if I just click the SD and let go, will it go? Doesn't look like anything's going. Okay, so instruction manual. Okay, so my amazing troubleshooting skills. I have, it's recording, yes. I just discovered I did just not have it powered on properly. I thought I'd hit the button, but apparently not. So now I am seeing the SD card light on, and also the Wi-Fi light is on, as well as the power for the battery, or the battery indicator. The SD card is in, the one with the 4 gig file, or near 4 gig file, and I've got a light on the Western Digital Passport drive. So now I'm going to press the SD card and hold it. Okay, now it's starting to flash, so it should be going there. But I can see the light flashing here, that it's reading from the SD card. And on the hard drive, I shouldn't be moving it while it's spinning, but it is flashing there. So it is writing to that hard drive as well. Okay, that stopped. We will check and see how long that took. I'm going to eject the drive now. put the exact same file onto a different SD card, one that wouldn't use the adapter, and then we will try it as well. Since the lights are flashing, I'm going to assume it's safe to eject and just kind of hope. Yeah, so as an example, that card writing to my computer with a USB 3 microSD card adapter is going at 91 megabytes per second to move that file. So that is significantly faster than 12 to 18. Moving that file, I just moved off the other card where I was getting 90 megabytes per second hard or solid, is now moving that file onto the older card that was in my digital SLR, is getting 12 to upload to it. And it's saying about 4 minutes or so. Slight change of angle, but I have the same 4 gig file now on the 64 gig SanDisk. It is an older one, 30 megabytes per second max. It was getting about 12 moving the 4 gig file onto it. So I'm going to put it in the RAVPower here, stick it in. I like to use an old DS stylus to make sure those go in. The SD card is red, it's showing it. I'm now going to hit the button to transfer, and it's flashing. Let's see how long that takes in comparison. Okay, so now have transferred with the other card, the dedicated card, not one with an adapter, over to the hard drive. Looking back at the footage, the timing was about 3 minutes and 36 or 3 minutes and 37 seconds for each of the 2 different file transfers. So the super fast card in the super fast micro SD card in an adapter, and just the older, slower straight SD card. Both are about the same speed, so not a super fast thing. I should do the math on that, but basically 3.5 minutes for 4 gigs. So, it's going to take some time to do large file transfers, but it seems to be not too bad. So I haven't done the math, but I do know that the computer to the straight SD card, the older, slower one, was sitting at 12 megabytes per second, and it was a similar time frame to move information onto it from the computer. So I suspect what it comes down to is that the micro SD was about 90 megabits per second. So what it comes down to is that was probably about a 12 megabytes per second move speed for the files. So not super fast, but for the fact that it was running solely off of battery power, that's pretty awesome. So I'm happy with that, and I'm just going to now plug the hard drive into my computer. Basically, take it off the RAVPower, the Filehub, and I'm going to check and see. I want to see what the file structure looks like on the hard drive when stuff is moved. Okay. Anyway, so here's the hard drive. It is basically they put obviously some housekeeping information on here, but it looks like all the data is in the SD backup file. Now, if you look at the time frames of these 2 files, 2012, January 1st, and then some time frames. So this is basically when I first turned it on. It obviously thought it was midnight, January 1st, 2012. It is January 28th, 2020. So I assume what I need to do is get into the actual RAVFile app and actually just kind of set the timing on the device. I'll do that right away. I'm not going to show that on camera. I'm not going to show all the other features either. I just kind of wanted to see what this looked like. So in this case, it was the same file done twice from 2 different SD cards. So you can see each time you do the transfer, it looks like it creates a folder, and the information will be in there, the data. So and then there's some system volume information that goes along with it. So you can see inside the 11095.mp4, 11095.mp4. It's the same file moved twice off of 2 different cards. So it's I understand it's supposed to have some ability to do incremental backing up, so you wouldn't get multiple copies, but I'm not going to test that right now. Right now I'm just happy enough for this. I think I'll do a more in-depth video later. Basically, I wanted to do this video to see how the actual backup works. All the other Wi-Fi features and all those other pieces, that'll be a separate video, and do that after. But I can say right now that the data transfer from an SD card to the an external hard drive does work well. You could put a USB drive, another like a USB thumb drive or something like that there, just to use it as a laptop or computer free copy from one device to another, both portable, that kind of thing. But that looks like that works really well. I'm happy with that. And yeah, I'm going to basically pack this up, and then I will play with all the other features at another time. Yeah, like, comment, all that fun stuff. Yeah, and definitely comment below if you would like to see all the other features tested and just looked at. Like I said, I just wanted to do the file backup piece for this one, just because this was the main reason I bought this device. So anyway, I'm not sure I mentioned previously, but the price for this was significantly cheaper. I think I paid $70 Canadian, so we're probably talking $50 American to buy this device. For all the features it does, and the fact that it's got the battery backup, like a power bank involved and all that kind of stuff, just it's a good device. I'm happy with it so far. I will update with a further video later, but and probably actually once I travel with it, I will do a follow-up video. But so far, it's pretty awesome. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.